basic shape that you want it to be. Maybe something about like that. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. There. See there? Now, very gently grab it and lift up. Tiny little strokes, though, short little strokes. And do it in layers. It'll give the impression of distant trees that live far away. They live right at the base of this old mountain. What a view they would have. A little touch of that color, and we can go right in here and give the indication of a little reflection of that. That easy. Now then, let me get a clean brush. I have several of each brush here. I want to create the illusion of a reflection on this that we dropped in here. Normally we pull down. This time, pull up. And I'm beating the brush just to remove excess color, because you're going to pick up a little color, and that will remove it. See there? All there is to it. Now, very lightly, go across. And that'll give the indication of an instant reflection. That easy. All right. Now then, let's have some fun. We'll just use that same mountain color. So we had some blue and some black and some crimson. I'll put some brown in it and some sap green. Basically all your dark colors. Some sap green. All right, let me clean the old knife. Now then, let's grab us a little fan brush. There's one, number 6 fan brush. Take a little color. Just put a little bit of color right on the brush. That's all there is to it. Okay? Now maybe, let's see if that shows up. Might have to make it a little lighter to get it to show. So we'll add a little white. Just a little touch of white. Yeah, that's a little better. Now that I'm just going to take and grab that and lift upward. I want to look like little trees, a little closer to us, but living very far away. Very far away. Just touch it. All you're doing is putting a little line of paint, and then you lift it upward. Could not be simpler. There. There, that's all there's to it. We'll take the knife, a little bit of dark sienna and Van Dyke brown mixed together, maybe a little white with it. There you go. That's a nice color, I like that. Just sort of play around with color till you get what you want. Our little roll of paint. And let's go right up in here. And with that, we'll just put the indication, maybe like here, right there. See? I'm sorry, I get excited. I've painted like this for 20 years, and I still get excited when I see it work. It's so wonderful. I was a traditional painter for many years, and I now call that my agony years, because I agonized over paintings. A little bit of liquid white, and we'll just cut in a little water line. Just a little tiny water line. This is sort of a light area that separates the two darks. There. Now if you put a little too much liquid white on there and you think it's a little too strong, just rub it. It will just be absorbed into the color. It'll go away. No problem at all. There. All right, that gives us a pretty nice little background. Let's see. We need to figure out what we're going to put in here. So let's take crazy time. We'll take some more of that. We got some Prussian blue, sap green, crimson, brown. We'll mix up a pretty good pile of paint here. Let's play a little. All right. Here's an old 2-inch brush. We'll take him, load a lot of color into the brush. And we have to sort of make some decisions in our world. Let's just block in some areas. Now then, maybe in our world we're going to have a big tree that lives right here. We're not looking for a lot of detail here. All we're doing is blocking in some basic shape. This is sort of your bravery test after you've worked so hard to put in all those gorgeous things. And then you come up here and some crazy fuzzy-haired guy says, put in a big tree right over the top of it. But that's all right. There. We'll decide where that goes later. Maybe we'll grab a little fan brush. We'll have some more fun here. Take a fan brush, load it full of that dark color. Maybe there's a little peninsula right here. Yeah. When you paint, you begin to see things. Let them happen. Just let them happen. Let them happen. Don't worry about them. Learn to compose as you paint. Learn to take advantage of what happens. We call those happy accidents. And they can be your best friend. There. Maybe. Yeah, maybe it comes right on down. Right in there. About like that. We don't even know where it goes over there. Don't think we care at this point. All right. Just want to create a little mist down here at the base. And we can do that with a clean brush. Like so. Then lift slightly upward. Sort of brings everything together. There. Of course, right underneath that, we'd need a reflection. We would need a reflection, so just pull it straight down. Straight down. It's most important, though, that it goes straight down. Reflection should be as dark as the object that's casting the reflection. There. And go across. Give us a little instant reflection. Now, maybe, I'll tell you what, maybe there's a tree that lives right here. We'll put some highlight on him so it'll show. This one lives a little closer to us, so we can make out a little more detail on him. There. He's got a friend. Happy little tree, lives right here and watches everything happen. All right. Now, I'm going to go right into a little touch of the cadmium yellow, yellow ochre. Sooner or later I'll hit all the yellows and a little bit of the red. I want to make a nice green color. Because you had blue and black on your brush, when you go in here, you'll get green instantly. Now then, we can come right along in here and place us a few little highlights on this tree. That'll snatch it right up in that background. A little more color. And we'll put a few highlights on this little rascal. Maybe in our world here, maybe there's a few little grassy things that we're beginning to see. Don't want a lot of detail yet. Just a few little things far away. Little sparklers. There they go. We don't know where they go over here. Don't know where they go. Take a little bit of our brown and white we used, and we can put the indication of a little landmass here. See there? That's simple. Little bit of land. A little touch of the liquid white, just to give the indication of a water line right in here. Don't want a lot of color. Just a little here and there. See how that works? It's neat, huh? Now then, we got to decide where this big tree lives. Here he comes. Here he comes. He comes right on down. This is just dark color. Just a lot of dark color. Maybe it comes all the way down here. I don't know. That's the beauty of painting like this. You really don't have to know exactly where everything's at. It just works. A little paint thinner, liner brush, that brown color, here and there, and there and here. We'll just put the indication of a little limb, little trunk, lives in there. Don't have to worry about it very much. Let's we'll use some of that yellow, greens. Mix them on the 2-inch brush though. Let's go right in here and let's just begin picking out some highlights. There, just the corner of the brush. All you're using. There you are. Now if you've got a very thick, dry paint up on the canvas, you can put this right on here. It'll go right on the top without mixing together. But the paint on your brush has to be a little bit thinner than what you have on the canvas already. It'll always pull toward the thickest area. There we are. Now our yellows are made just a little bit thinner, so that works automatically. There. Maybe on down like that. And I'm going to change the flavor a little bit, add a little bright red, a little yellow ochre. Maybe, yeah, you're right. Right there.
Person. They're inside. They're there because they have been brought along down with the very principle of fecundity. We inherit this basic life pattern or we die before birth. And the fact that we can breathe, that we can think, and that we can make mistakes is a proof that there is a power within us in which we have an access that is tremendous and universally redemptive. The power inside of the individual is a redemptive power. Power on the outside is usually destructive. But this inner power cannot function unless the individual stops misrepresenting his own nature. The true patterns of maturity must come from a partnership with the laws of existence, and not a constant violation of universal law in order to achieve physical gratifications. So inside of the person, as every mystic has known, every esotericist has known, the whole code of nature exists. It is available to us. It is a code higher than that of the animal. It is a code which, however, he reacts to instinctively, and we react to intuitively. And intuition is instinct that has been stepped up to a higher level to meet the needs of a creature more highly evolved. So with intuition about things, an intuition which is clear of all ulterior motive, we each of us have within our abilities a true code upon which to build. There is inside of us the very laws that we are seeking on the outside. We have spaceships going off to planets. We are doing all kinds of things to break and split atoms and so forth. But the great scientists, the great sciences of existence, arise from the intuitive inward recognition of divine purpose. The individual matures when the reality in himself comes through. He matures not when his mind takes over and makes a despot out of him. He is mature when his soul takes over and makes a liberator out of him. He becomes a great person when the divine greatness moves through him. He remains a tiny person when he tries to be great without enlightenment. So all these things must be all considered in one way or another in order to reach what we might call a grown-up state. And Lord knows we need it now. We cannot keep on being eternal children. If we are going to be children, and there's a way of doing that that is very interesting also, if we're going to be children, we must be childlike. This was the secret that Mencius learned from his mother, namely that childlikeness is simplicity. It is faith, it is trust. And strange as it seems, very often this trust in another also corrects the other person. If some child trusts us, we are going to try to be worthy of that trust. Therefore, childlikeness makes a world in which people are inspired to keep the ideals and beauties and truths of each other. But childhood in the ordinary sense is simply ignorance. Now, somewhere between ignorance and wisdom we are existing today. And we are looking around to try to figure out how we're going to legislate out of these problems. We're going to try to figure some way to balance the world's budget. We're going to try some way to get rid of a nuclear armament. But we're doing it all through appealing to the exterior part of the individual. We are trying to tell him that he'll kill himself if he doesn't do something about armament. This is true, but is not the basis of a correction. We are assured that if we don't do certain things, our economy is going to collapse. Well, if we do certain things we're doing now, it will collapse. There's no way of preventing it. All of these outward things have to be moved, directed, inspired, and sustained by inner convictions. The reform that we are looking for must be that to realize that every human being that comes into this world has a fight on its hands. It must struggle between self-interest and universal good. Every person that comes into this world, seemingly, is to a measure at least self-centered. They want what they want, and they want to live in a world in which their attitudes and beliefs can be fulfilled. But they come into the world without a sense of responsibility. They do not realize that they cannot do certain things without endangering their own survival. Animals don't know this because actually, except for man, their survival is not endangered in their natural state. They will survive because of the fact that they cannot go against law. They have no way to go. They have no mind to tell them what to do that isn't lawful, or how to escape the natural problems of existence. Man has developed these as additional values. They have been given to him that he might be the creature that becomes self-governing, self-ruling, and self-dedicating. It is the hope of the powers of nature that man will become a faithful shepherd in the garden that the Lord has given him, that man will become an instrument for the fulfillment of the divine plan in nature, and that he will become the Lord over all animals and creatures, over planets and worlds, but in this rulership will be forever obedient and completely dedicated to the divine purpose. This type of thing we have to work with some way at this time. I think we shall have to get over the idea that we're going to be able to vote these things into existence. Individuals who have never made any effort to change their own nature are voting to have governments change theirs. And yet when someone comes along that might do it, that will interfere with selfishness, they will turn on him. There is no way in which you can correct a human being successfully from the outside. There is no way in which you can free him from the consequences of his own outside actions. But all outsides are governed from the inside. Therefore, the great government, the universal government, the divine government, is communicated through the individual and not to him. It is his own experience rising up. It is the mellowing result of life and living. It is the inevitable conclusion that comes through the experience and the practice of the various processes of existence. Man can come together not by having identical attitudes or the same governments or the same arts and sciences, but by the same integrities. For the basic integrities are what create governments, what create laws, create sciences and arts. And where the integrities are wrong, the arts, sciences, and governments become corrupt. Therefore, for everything that we need and everything that we desire, there is a proper way of attaining that. There is a way to have peace. There is a way to have security in this world. There's a way to go on doing better things. But the result we seek has to come from inside ourselves. We have to stop cheating every day. We have to stop all these little deceits. And while that is always very important, there is also the emotional and spiritual relationships of people that are very important. Relationships of integrities, that we admire people for what they are. And when they are doing a good job, we roll up our sleeves and help them. All of the cooperating emergencies that arise can be handled by thoughtful people. Little by little, we can lift the problems of poverty. We can lift all these different racial and other situations that are dangerous, but only when the one life in all of us is allowed to shine out. We are one life, and why everything we do should be divided so that this life is